Oh man. Okay. Welcome again. I didn't even realize I wasn't like fully live yet. So welcome in. If you're tuning in, please let me know where you're tuning in from, what state, what country. But these are Soap Made Simple lunchtime learn with me lives. I'm going to be learning cold process soap. So I do have a syllabus that is available on my profile. Go to my profile and click on the first link, I believe it is, and you'll see the Soap Made Simple syllabus where you can get just the syllabus, a breakdown, like a general breakdown of what we'll be discussing every Tuesday and Thursday at noon for these lunchtime series. I am a cold process soap maker. I've been making soap since 2018. I started making soap because my daughter had eczema and I was just kind of looking for something to soothe those rashes and not necessarily cure her, but just make her feel a lot better. I did sort of cure her. She doesn't have eczema anymore. Maybe she grew out of it, but I still use natural soap on her. I have two others as well, and one of them still has eczema. So I guess my kids do. They grow out of it. But I use natural soap on them. So that was the reason why I kind of started making the soap. So in these series, I'll be giving you guys tips, tricks to making cold process soap. I'm just trying to break it down into like bite-sized nuggets of information for you. Today, we're just going to be going over soap making secrets and tips to help you make your first batch of soap making or cold process soap. We are going to be making soap on live on August 26th, which should be a Tuesday. I always have to make sure I got the date right because we're only doing these lunchtime lives for the month of August. So yeah, the 26th will actually be making soap. If you're interested in making that soap with me while we're on live, there there is a supply list. If you go to my links, if you're on Instagram or TikTok, you could just go to my profile and my links. You'll see like my Amazon or my Walmart shopping list. And that'll help you get the supplies to make the soap on the 26th. If you're on YouTube, you have to go to my profile. Underneath my picture, you'll see like my main website, which is blackhands.net, and then you'll see like other additional, yeah, I think it says other additional links. Let me go to my channel and see how it appears. Yeah, it just has that, and then it says 9 more links. I don't know why it's not saying that I'm live. I am live, right? Let me go to my chat. Hi, Black Hawk. Welcome back. How are you? I am well. So I am live on YouTube. I don't know why it's not showing me as live. Oh, there it is. I guess it doesn't show my picture. But today we're just going to be going over soap making secrets and tips. Like I said, if you do want to make the soap on the 26th with us, then you can go ahead and go to those supply lists to help you out. What I discussed today will be uploaded to the Soap Made Simple link. Up there, you'll already see the syllabus as well as, hola, Jose, as well as you'll see the syllabus as well as oils and ingredients that are categorized by skin conditions skin conditions. So there's dry skin, there's oily skin, there are like acne, psoriasis, and eczema, and then there's sensitive skin. So it's broken up in that order. So you can go there. If you're on YouTube, you can go to my community post, and on the community post, you'll see the link to the syllabus, which will also show you the link to those oils based by skin type. So let's go over these soap making secrets. One of the biggest issues that I find that a lot of newbies have is actually using sodium hydroxide and water, like mixing that together, because they're always very afraid that they're going to burn themselves, which is definitely a valid concern. But I do have some tips to kind of help you out with that. If it looks like my attention is divided, it's because I'm on 2 different devices. So I have TikTok here, and then I have Instagram and YouTube here. So that's why I look up and down. Come on, Stas, listen. I only know a little bit of Spanish. So I am, what do I say? Donata. Wait, is it Donata? So I can't keep going on with the conversation because I have very limited Spanish. But hola, Jose. ¿Cómo estás? Okay, so when you're using the water, you have to use distilled water just because it's dead water and you don't need any chemicals or minerals or extra additives affecting your soap. Soap is very temperamental, so treat it well. Mix your ingredients well and make sure you are as precise as possible. When it comes to using the water, normally room temperature is just fine. I mean, room temperature is fine, but if you are afraid of being burned or you're afraid of the fumes, then it is best to freeze your ice. So you can do that simply by pouring the water into an ice cube tray and freezing that. And then when it's time to mix, hi Juliana. Yeah, I know. I took 3 years of Spanish, y'all. Believe it or not, I took 3 years of Spanish and I can't get past how are you doing? It's sad, very sad. But you can freeze the water into ice cubes and use that to mix with your sodium hydroxide. You still will have fumes. It still will heat up because that's just what the sodium hydroxide will refer to it as lye. It's a caustic soda that you need in order to make soap. When people say, "Oh, is there lye in the soap?" Not in the finished product, there is not. But normally, oil and water wouldn't mix, and it needs some type of compound agent to bind it together, and that's where sodium hydroxide or lye come into play. So you do need lye to make soap. If it is real soap, it will have lye that has been used to make it. It will eventually evaporate out of the soap, so you won't have to worry about that, but it is used to bind the oils and butters and water together. So there will be heat, there will be fumes, and those fumes definitely, like if you're using room temperature water, those fumes will definitely mess with your nose, have you coughing, choking a little bit. That's why it's best to mix your lye and your water outside. Or if you are going to do it in the house, make sure there's a door open, there's a window open, and there's no children or pets around because it's not healthy for them to breathe in those fumes. And then if it spills, it could give third-degree burns. So that's why you should mix by yourself, and it's best to mix it outside. Make sure you are wearing a mask, gloves, and long sleeves. So a long sleeve shirt or dress just to protect your skin while you're mixing it. If you use ice cubes instead of just room temperature distilled water, it will minimize the fumes. You'll still have some, but it will minimize it a lot. So it is worth it to do that extra step and just freeze the distilled water, and then use the ice cubes instead of just liquid water in making your lye solution. The lye will melt it down, so it will become a liquid right before your eyes in about a minute, max a minute. But it's just going to make the process a lot easier for you because the fumes will be minimized by the fact that you use ice cubes instead of just regular room temperature water. You can use cold water too, but again, the ice cubes is going to be better than the cold water. So that's when it comes to mixing the lye. That's kind of the first step in making soap. While that lye is cooling, because it has to cool before you can use it, you should try to soak underneath 100, I say between 100 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So you do need to take that time to let that lye solution cool, and it will take an hour, sometimes a few hours before it will cool down. If you use the ice cubes, maybe like an hour to 2 hours. It also depends on the temperature of where you have the lye solution sitting. So if you have it sitting outside in the heat, it's going to take a lot longer to cool because it's outside in the heat. It may even take overnight for it to cool. But if you have it sitting in the house or on the porch, it may not be as bad. It depends on where you live and it depends on the temperature. I'm in Florida where it's hot and hotter. So for me, I definitely can't leave it outside. I definitely have to have it inside. I cover it because I don't want the fumes just going throughout the house. And sometimes I put it in the fridge, not the fridge that I keep my food. I have a little miniature fridge. So sometimes I'll just put it in there to kind of speed up the cooling as well. But while that is cooling, you can go and measure out your oils and butters. Now, the containers that I use to do that are these. This is just a simple Rubbermaid pitcher. It has, you probably won't be able to see it here, but if you notice when you go shopping, it has a triangle with a 5 in it. I'm sure you can't see that, but when you're out shopping, you'll see that it has a triangle with a 5 in it, which lets you know that it is heat resistant. So you can put hot things in it and it's not going to melt into your soap or melt in general. It's going to hold it and do what it's supposed to do. So I use those to mix my lye water as well as my oils and butter. So I have a separate container for the lye solution. I have a smaller Rubbermaid container that I use for that. And then for the oils and butters, I'll use that. Hello, Juliana, again, happy. So while that lye solution is cooling, then you can definitely go ahead and mix your oils and butters in that Rubbermaid container that I just showed you. When it comes to measuring them, you have to use a scale, and a very precise scale, a scale that measures out like at least two number places past the decimal, because sometimes the ingredients will call for like 1.24 ounces of coconut oil. And most measuring devices will only do like 1.2, but you want that for, because you want to be as precise as possible. So it's better to get one that measures out at least 2 decimal places beyond the two number placements beyond the decimal. The scale that I use, I had it sitting over here. What happened to it? Because I originally bought a little $10 scale from Walmart, and it was not scaling accurately at all. So I use this one now. This one is from Walmart too, but this one I think is around $30. So it's a lot more accurate. And as you can see here, I switched okay. My battery's dying, so that's why it's acting funny. Yeah, I won't stay on because I need to replace the battery. But you'll see, if it'll let you see, that there's 3 number places beyond the decimal. So you can get as precise as possible in your measurements. You can get a scale from anywhere. You can get it from your local stores, from online stores, wherever. But just make sure it can't be a cheap. And trust me, you get what you pay for. So it's reflected in the price. If it's saying it's $5, I wouldn't get it. That's just my opinion, unless it's multiple sales and discounts and stuff that has really helped out with it. Otherwise, I would not get it. So you need that for precise measurements, because even a little, like an ounce off, could affect your soap recipe, and the soap that you make will be different than the soap that you made the last time, just because of that 1 ounce that is off. So you definitely want to make sure that you get as exact as possible. Another thing to do is maintain your temperature control. Like I was saying, when it comes to the lye solution, if you're mixing it outside and you're in the heat, it's going to take longer for it to cool because of the hot temperature. So in general, you can maintain temperature control by being in a controlled environment, like a home where there's the air conditioner and you get to control the temperature there. So I would recommend doing it in your kitchen. That's an easier place to sanitize after the fact. Obviously, don't do it around any food, so put all your food away. But I recommend the kitchen, because usually the kitchen has a window that you can open or a door that you can open, which will allow airflow to go in there while the lye solution is cooling. Once the lye solution is cool, you won't smell any more fumes, and you're not at risk for 3rd-degree burns anymore. Now, if that lye solution does touch your skin after it has cooled, and when I say cool, like room temperature, like 80 degrees Fahrenheit, once it has cooled, if some of it does touch your skin, you should wash it off immediately. It's not going to give you 3rd-degree burns, but it will make your skin irritating, or it'll make it feel irritated. So it'll be a little itchy and just a little uncomfortable. It's not going to kill you, but you should wash your hands immediately. So maintain temperatures by, being in a controlled environment. I turn the fan on in the kitchen while I'm doing it. You can, but don't put it in the direction of where you are. So, like for example, if this was my lye solution and I'm sitting right here, I wouldn't put a fan in front of me because then that would push the fumes from the lye solution in front of me. I don't want to do that. What I would do is put a fan here or maybe put it over here, like in this corner, so it can push the air elsewhere. And it will help with the temperature, with maintaining temperature control. But yeah, you just don't want that fan coming in the direction of you. Thanks for that question, Blackhawk. So once you start mixing the soap, there are additives that you can add to it. Two additives that I always add to my soap are kaolin clay and colloidal oatmeal. They are not necessary by any means, but I like adding them because the kaolin clay gives a nice slip to the soap, makes it feel a little silkier once it's finished. And if you're using essential oils, especially, it will help anchor that scent, meaning that it'll help that scent last longer in your soap bar. Because when it comes to essential oils, I say you probably have a good 6 months of a very strong scent. Once dead, after the 6 months has passed, and that includes cure time. So really, you don't get a full 6 months of use out of it. You'll get maybe like 4 months out of it of use with that strong scent. Because after the fact, the scent will still remain depending on the essential oil that you use in the brand, because not all essential oils are created equal. Some brands are not as pure and natural as they advertise, so their essential oils may not last as long. But usually after the 6 months, and I say 6 months from when you cut the soap, like the 6 months will begin from when you cut the soap, after the curing process, all of that, you'll get a good 6 months out. And after that, it will just start to fade a little bit. It won't be horrible, but by the time you hit a year, it's probably going to be gone. Like the scent will be gone. The soap will still be efficient just as it was before, but you just won't have that scent anymore. So when you add the kaolin clay in there, it kind of allows you to prolong that strength of that essential oil in there. I had a lavender essential oil soap bar, and I get my essential oils from Brambleberry. They're kind of on the pricier side, but at least I know it's good quality. And that soap, I think, yeah, the scent on that lasted for a good like 15, 16 months. So having the kaolin clay and a good provider for your essential oils is very crucial in keeping that scent lasting as long as possible. I add the colloidal oatmeal because I want to have a gentle exfoliation just to kind of help with the cleansingness of the soap bar. So I normally would add those two directly to my oils prior to even mixing the lye solution in the soap. And the reason why I do that is because I want to make sure I have enough time to mix those things in. Once you start with your stick blender and you are mixing that soap, it's going to go fast. Like when it comes to making soap, the prep time is what takes forever. When you're actually making the soap, you're done in 5 to 10 minutes, especially with your stick blender. You're going to stick blend on like 30-second or less burst. Like, I guess I'll show you guys when we're making the soap on the 26th, but it's very short, quick bursts that you're actually using the stick blender. And after you have fully mixed it, like I say, it's like a 5 to 10 minute ordeal. You pour it in your mold. It's going to set up, meaning that it's going to get thick. And then you just put it aside in an air conditioned area, very cool temperature area, so it can go through saponification, which is just the process of the lye leaving the soap and the oils and butters and water binding together to create the solid soap. So that process takes between 24 and 48 hours. So once that is done, then you just cure your soap for another 4 weeks before you could actually use it. But the actual process of making a soap is going to be very, very quick. So that's the reason why I add my kaolin clay and my colloidal oatmeal to my oils, so I can fully mix them without worrying about me reaching trace. Trace is when you know that it's time to pour the soap. Trace is just the term that's used to describe the process of when the soap has properly mixed and it has emulsified into the soap. So the lye, everything has come together and bound together. And again, it's ready to pour. So there are different stages of trace. There's light trace. Light trace is just the where you can drizzle just a little bit of soap on the top and a little bit will stay on. I like to call it the pudding consistency. So it's not very thick. It's like a light pudding, but everything is together. So you'll notice a difference from when you first have the oils and butters in the lye solution. Like I said, normally oil and water wouldn't mix. So when you're actually looking at the container, you'll see a separation of the oils versus the water. You'll see like the little thin layers. But once you have reached a light trace, you won't see that anymore. Everything will look solid and as one liquid. So that's when you know you've reached light trace. Medium trace is when you can drizzle a little bit of soap on the top and you'll see a little bit floating on the top. Thick trace, which is the third trace or the third level of trace, is when it's very, very thick and you can't necessarily pour it. You have to use a spoon to put it in your silicone mold. So when I add this soap making secret and tip sheets to the Soap Made Simple link, you'll see that if you want to create swirls, then you need to achieve a light trace. If you want to achieve or want to have objects that are embedded, so like making little flowers or little petals or other little shapes. I've seen like little animals, little ducks, little dinosaurs that are made from soap. So you use a special silicone mold to make those from soap. If you want to add those things in, then a medium trace is better because they'll stick in there. You know, they won't fall in there and not stay in their place. With light trace, they will fall because light trace is like pouring water. It's not going to hold anything. It's very, very fluid. Medium trace is not as fluid, so it will hold some things. Thick trace is what you use when you want to create layers. Because if you had like a light trace and you were trying to create layers, the soap, like if you had like a red, white, and blue, the white would just go through the red and kind of swirl in there. But if you had a thick trace, then the red will sit there, set up by itself. Then you could put the white on top and it'll be fine and it'll sit there by itself too. And you can create your layers. So you achieve the traces that you want based off the design that you're trying to create, and you have control in the beginning over that trace with your stick blending. Now time ain't on your side when it comes to making soap, so the longer it sits there, the thicker it's going to get, even if you're not using a stick blender. So let's say you stick blend for 30 seconds. You've reached the light trace and you forgot the silicone mold. This is a true story. This has happened to me. Okay. Forgot the silicone mold that you wanted to use. So I go and I always even though I've cleaned them, I re-clean them again because I don't know, I'm kind of OCD. So I went to go clean my soap mold again and I spray it with alcohol, like isopropyl alcohol, just to make sure that any scents from the prior soap are not remaining there. When I came back to the soap, it couldn't have been more than like a minute and a half. It was thick. It was a very thick trace. And I said, well, I'm not going to be swirling the soap anymore. I'm going to have to just kind of layer it out because it was very thick. So that's what I mean when I say like the process is very quick, like 5 minutes of stick blend, like 5 minutes from when you start stick blending to where you pour it in the soap mold. That's what you're kind of looking at. It's a very quick process. So it got thick. So you have to be careful with that. Once you reach your desired trace, you got to be ready to pour into your silicone mold or whatever mold that you have set aside for your soap. Now, one of the complaints that I hear a lot with people when it comes to natural soaps is, oh, it doesn't lather as well. It's not as many bubbles. So I have some tips on how to naturally get more lather. You can start with using oils and butters that are going to give you more bubbly lather. Coconut oil is really good for lather. It's sort of like the holy grail of lather. That and castor oil and palm oil. So if you have those three oils in your soap bar, you're going to be fine on lather. You're not going to need any extra boost in lather because those three oils will definitely take care of it and give you just that natural lather. If you want more lather, or maybe you're not using all those ingredients or you're not using any of them, then you can use honey. Honey is sweet to the mouth and it's sweet to the skin. Honey will boost, like majorly boost your lather. Honey is very temperamental. Honey will heat up your soap batter. So you have to be pretty advanced with that. And you have to definitely soap in very cool conditions. Like the oils and butters have to be cool. The lye solution has to be cool. And when I say cool, like between 80 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit, they have to be very cool, because honey will just heat it all up. And if it gets too hot, it will crack or volcano out of the soap mold. And then you're not going to be able to use it. You can use it with cracks, but not when it becomes a volcano. I guess technically you could use it when it becomes a volcano, but you would have to jump into hot process soap. You couldn't continue with cold process soap. And hot process soap requires you to cook the soap. It takes a little bit longer, but similar process. So you can use honey. Another way to boost lather is sugar. Pretty much anything with sugar. So even using like strawberries, like pureed strawberries, those natural sugars will create a bubblier lather in your soap bar. Actual pure sugar will do the same thing. So I have a video on YouTube where I went through some of the different ways to achieve different lathers, and I did lather tests for all those soap bars. And I found that sugar was a game changer, like just pure sugar. You could use items with sugar in them, but using the pure sugar alone was a lot better than using the items that include sugar. And the lather was very nice and very bubbly. So you can use honey, sugar, and things that have sugar in them to naturally boost your lather. You could also, like, if let's say you had a soap bar with just olive oil. That's what we call a Castile soap. It's just one oil, and that one oil is olive oil. That soap bar takes a longer time to set up, takes a longer time to cure because it is a liquid soap, but it is a very highly moisturizing soap bar. Now, the lather won't be that great on it, but it will give your skin a very nice moisturizing cleanse. It is not going to be dry to your skin whatsoever. But the lather isn't going to be that good on it. So what you could do if you wanted to do like 100%, thanks for the likes, if you wanted to do 100% olive oil soap bar, is you could use a loofah to add lather to it. Like a simple washcloth will do that. A soap scrubber or soap saver. I should have. Do I have any? I may not have any over here with me. But a soap saver bag will improve the lather as well. I thought I had one. In 1 second. Oh, I do. Okay. So this is a soap saver bag. You put your soap in here. Thanks for the likes. You put your soap in here, and it will increase the lather on the soap just along with this. And you can use this to actually scrub your skin. It's going to exfoliate your skin. I typically don't do that. What I would do is just use the soap in here. You kind of massage it to get the lather out like that. And then I use a washcloth or my loofah to add to it to get the soap from it and use it on my skin. But you can use this directly on your skin. If you want a more gentler exfoliation, this is another type of soap saver bag, but it's not as, the consistency, texture of it is a little different. So it's not going to be as rough. It still is going to give you some exfoliation, but it just won't be as bad. So I have these and I have these, and these are natural ways to achieve more lather, especially if you're using like that olive oil soap bar and you don't want to add in honey or sugar or just other oils that support lather. Okay. So moving on to the next tip is how to make your soap bar last longer. Soap is like wine. It gets better over time. So the longer it sits, the harder it is, the better the lather is. But if you have very little patience, I get it. You don't want to wait. But if you do, that is just a natural way to get your soap bar harder and lasting longer just by letting it sit there. Good things come to those who wait. If you are on the more impatient side, you can add sodium lactate or table salt to your soap bar. Now, the sodium lactate and the table salt are added in as 1 teaspoon. Thanks for the follow. They're added in at 1 teaspoon per pound of soap. So if you're using with both of them, you're going to add them to your lye solution, but you're not going to add them while they're hot. You're going to wait till your lye solution cools to something below 120 degrees. 100 degrees is better, or below 100 degrees is better, but something below 120 degrees. You can add that table salt and then you just mix it till it dissolves, or you add the sodium lactate. The sodium lactate is always already going to be like a liquid, and it's sort of like a sugar as well. That you just pour in. It's not going to need to really dissolve, but you're just pouring it to make sure it mixes with the lye solution. So you could add one of those things to add longevity to your soap bar, making it a lot harder and lasting a lot longer. The sodium lactate doubles up as a natural lather enhancer, as well as something to harden the bar, because it is made with sugar. So it will improve the lather in your soap bar, and it will make it harder quicker and ultimately last longer. But the best tip that I can give you for having a soap bar that lasts longer and is harder is to wait. You wait your 4 weeks, at least your 4 weeks, 6 weeks if you can muster it. And then when you're using your soap bar, don't leave it in water, because it will over time just dissolve, get all mushy. It's soap, And so you have to keep it on something that's going to keep it dry. So I got this one that was in here, up here. I use these bamboo soap racks. You just sit them on the soap and the water will drain out of them. And you can sit this on your seal in your bathroom or on your kitchen or your bathroom sink, wherever the water can drain out of it. You can use that. Or if you have like one of those racks, I made soap one day and used it the night before the night it was made. Was that melt and pour soap? So with cold processed soap, it is safe to use it after 48 hours. I know you're saying you used it overnight, the same day, I guess. It is safe to use at 48 hours, but because it's not fully cured, there's a lot of excess water in it. So it will not last long at all. No clue. Well, if you use melt and pour soap, then that means you use something like a base like this, where you just cut it up into cubes and you heat it down into a microwave or some type of heating device. And with melt and pour soap, you definitely can use those within a couple of hours of making it, because once you add your essential oils or whatever clays you wanted to add to it, it's going to solidify within an hour, and maybe in an hour and a half you can use it and it's going to be rock hard. So melt and pour soap, definitely you can use that immediately. With cold processed soap, you should make the 48 hours, because it takes up to 48 hours for all of the lye to leave the soap and like fully go through that saponification process. So after the 48 hours, it is safe to use, but it is going to be mushy and gooey. Like, it's not going to last long at all because of how soft it is. It really does need those 4 weeks, because it needs to get rid of that excess water. And it can only do that if it's sitting. You can even cure it on something like this, where you just sit the soap up here. Just sit it up here like this, and just let it be in an airy area, and this will get rid of all the excess water. And you need that 4 weeks so the bar can get harder. I don't think I have any new soap bars, but if I did, they would look hard and maybe initially feel hard, but if you were just to smush them, you could break them. Like, you don't have to be the Incredible Hulk to do it. You could break them like 24, 48 hours. I would say even up to a week after it's been made, because it just takes some time to get rid of that excess water. So I wouldn't recommend using cold processed soap that early, simply because you want it to last long. All right, let's see what other tips I got for you guys. All right, natural colors. So, there's different school of thoughts on like micas and pigments and clays. I'm a pigment and clay user. I don't use micas simply because there's no beneficial value to micas other than they're pretty. So with clays and pigments, they actually, pigments technically don't really have much of a value as well. That's true. But I like pigments, so I use pigments. They're sort of like a mix between clays and micas. Clays are the most natural colors that you can get, like purchase colors. They actually come from the earth. And they tend to be more earth tone colors, a little more dull because they are just the natural colors from the earth. Those serve beneficial values. They're very detoxing for the skin, getting rid of hyperpigmentation. They have stored vitamins in them, so they serve a beneficial value. So I really like to use clay, which is one of the reasons why kaolin clay is used in every soap bar that I have, because it's a white clay, so it doesn't necessarily show up as a color, but it serves that benefit of having that detox, that deep cleanse. And then, like I was saying earlier, it helps with maintaining the scent, especially essential oils in your soap bars. So you can use the clays, you can use the pigments, you can use the micas if you want to, but like I said, they just don't serve any beneficial value other than the fact that they give you prettier colors, because the micas are scientifically constructed to be whatever color you want them to be. You can literally buy a mica of any color that you want. So it gives you, I guess, free range with the creativity when it comes to coloring your soap. If you don't want to use either of those, you don't want to pay for them, or you don't want to use those, you want to go as natural as possible, you can use natural colorants such as what do you call them? I want to say turmeric as an example, but spices. So kitchen spices. You can use cinnamon, will turn your color, will turn your soap more of a light brown. I don't recommend using too much cinnamon because cinnamon is very itchy. So it will make your soap bar very exfoliating. If that's what you're into, then cool. But that will give it more of a brown color. Turmeric is going to give it an orange color, and turmeric is a really good ingredient for hyperpigmentation and just evening your skin tone. So you can use that. You can use puree. So you can use like banana puree to get a yellow. You can use carrot puree that'll give you more of a yellow orange. You have to add a lot of carrots if you want to get like the full orange. And why do all that? We can just get turmeric and get the benefit of hyperpigmentation too. So you can use carrots, you can use spirulina, you can use spinach, anything that you can chop down into a liquid, you can use as a natural colorant. I've used strawberries, I've used sweet potato. Sweet potato is nice. I have used bananas, I've used avocado, and I've used carrots. So you can use any of those things. And of course, turmeric, I've used that. I've used cocoa powder. Cocoa powder was nice because cocoa powder gives it a little bit of a cocoa scent, not like cocoa butter, but think of like hot cocoa. That's the kind of scent that cocoa kind of adds to. And it's very subtle. Like it's not going to drain. Like if you added some other scent. Thanks for the lives, Matthias. I haven't seen you in forever. So it's not going to drain out whatever scent that you're using, but it will give you like this subtle sweet scent. So I really like using cocoa, and then it gives you that brown rich color. So you could take kitchen household spices basically to create color for your soap without having to actually go out and buy anything. See, another tip is soda ash. I don't like ashy skin, so I don't like ashy soap. Sometimes the ashy soap comes, there's not much I can do about it because it's there, but there are ways to avoid that ashy soap. And let me show you what ashy soap is first so you understand what I'm talking about. You see this? This is made with activated charcoal. So you see it's like a dark gray / black. It's not going to be fully black. But at the top, you see there's this thin white layer that's over my activated charcoal. This is soda ash. Soda ash is not harmful at all. but it's just not aesthetically pleasing. Some people like it because it looks like snow on top of your soap. That's what I've been told. But some people don't really care for it. It doesn't change the soap in any way other than how it looks. It doesn't affect how it operates or how it cleans, any of that. It doesn't affect any of that. And honestly, after you use the soap one time, this layer will come off. Like all it really takes is one use and that layer is gone. But when I have my soap bars on display for others to purchase, I prefer that it not have this ashy layer. So what I can do is after I make the soap bar, I can spray isopropyl alcohol. 99% isopropyl alcohol is the stronger alcohol that will help. And you're just spraying it, just like the alcohol that you use to clean wounds that you get from the local store, that alcohol. In the stores, they tend to have 70% or 91%. The stronger, the better. So I would suggest you get the 91%. But if you can get or somehow have access to the 99%, then that's cool. Get that one. And what you do is you spray the soap with like a lot of isopropyl alcohol. You spray it immediately after you're done making the soap. Then you wait an hour and come back and spray the soap again. And usually this will not happen. But in the event that it does happen, all you have to do, which is what I'll end up doing with the soap bar, is you take a steamer, so just like a handheld portable steamer, and you just steam it. And the steam is just going to spray like some hot water on it and just kind of wash that away. Just like I said, even if you were to purchase the soap just like this, you use it one time, that soda ash is going to be gone anyways. That's what the steam does. It gets rid of it immediately without without requiring you to actually use the soap, because I don't want to use the soap that I'm going to be selling. So I just put the soda ash up there and it will go away. You can also wipe your soap. So take like a washcloth and just wipe it. And you can wipe away all of the soda ash off of it. So if you don't have access to the isopropyl alcohol, then just use some warm water, put it on a washcloth. Don't put a bunch of water because then, you're basically using the soap. You could just use it. If it's your soap, then go ahead and just use it and it'll go away. But you just wipe it off with your washcloth, like you wring the water out of the washcloth, and just wipe it like you would wipe anything, and it will get rid of the soda ash. Another way to get rid of soda ash is water discounting, but that's more of like an advanced skill when it comes to making soap, because there's a certain amount of water that you have, just like you have to have for the soap bar, just like there's a certain amount of lye that you have to have. But you can discount that water and not, like, let's say if the recipe calls for 5 ounces of water, you can use a soap calculator to figure out what the discount would be. But you can, let's say with a discount, the recipe only calls for 4.5 ounces of water. Then because you've gotten rid of that extra ounce, you're less likely to have soda ash, because the soda ash is simply just the sodium hydroxide leaving with the water and getting trapped on top of the soap. It's when the oxygen mixes with the lye, that's the white layer that it gives. Again, it's not harmful. It's not going to harm you in any way. It's just not something that I like to see when I'm selling soap. So it's just a preference for me. Now let's see what other tips. When cutting your soap, you could use a multi-cutter, but if you're just like new to making soap, then you don't want to invest money into a multi-soaper because they're kind of expensive. You can use something as simple as a kitchen knife. Use that kitchen knife and cut it. Now, the soap bars may not be as even because you're doing it by hand, and I don't know about you, but I know I'm not very precise, so I tend to kind of cut off a little bit, like whenever I'm trying to use a knife on my own. Thanks for all the likes. But you can just use a kitchen knife to cut your soap bar. You can also use, they have cutters, which I had them in here, and who knows what I did with them. If you go to Amazon, they sell soap cutters, not the multi-cutters, but just like regular cutters with special knives, special soap knives that you can use, and it gives you like a wavy cut or a straight cut. You can use those as well. The key to cutting your soap is waiting a good 48 hours before you do it. Sometimes it's okay to do it after 24 hours because most of the time I do it after 24 hours. but that's also because I have a lot of hard oils in my soap, and I have the multi cutter. So it's just easier for me to handle it and cut it. And even still, then after I cut it, I may leave it sitting on the table for a day so it can get a little bit harder before I put it on my soap curing racks, because my soap curing racks are kind of made like this. I actually get them from Walmart, and I don't want the indentions from the container or from my rack on the soap bar. So I will wait, because they are a little on the softer end when you cut them. So you can just wait the 48 hours and then cut it with a knife. And if you want to make sure that you have clean cuts, because sometimes you cut it and there may be drag marks that you see, which I'm probably not going to have any drag marks because I use the multi-cutter. But if you clean the knife in between cuts, so you cut one soap bar, then you just wipe it off. You don't have to like fully clean it, but just wipe it off so there's not extra bits of soap on it, because the soap is soft. There will be extra little bits on it. So you clean that off and then you cut again, because if you don't clean it off, those extra little bits will get on your soap. And again, not harmful. It's just if you want a cleaner cut, then you got to keep your knife clean for each and every cut. Let's see. I do have a video where I talk about, I think it's 5 secrets to soap making on YouTube. So you guys can check that out. I may try to figure out a way to repost that, because I think it was like over a year ago. Let me see. So I'm going to add these secrets and these tips to the Soap Made Simple link. Let me see if I can find it here. Soap Made Secrets. If you're like really serious about learning how to make soap, then I suggest that you follow me on YouTube, because that's where I do a lot of the breaking down of soap making and actually doing long soap making videos. They are all over there. I think I have a few on TikTok, maybe 2 or 3. I don't think Instagram has any. So I would recommend that you follow me over there for more detailed tutorials on soap making. Okay, here it is. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to repost this video so people can see it. But one of the secrets that I have is, if your soap batter gets very thick and you still want to swirl some things in, especially if you've used the water discount. If you didn't use the water discount, then you can't really do this. But if you have used the water discount, you can throw in like an ounce of water, because there's extra water that you could have had in there. So you can throw in an ounce of water and use that to loosen up the soap batter so that you can pour in those swirls. And then I discussed table salt. Yeah, the isopropyl alcohol. Oh, stamping. A lot of my videos on TikTok that have gone viral are my stamping videos, where I stamp my soaps. Let me show you guys. So I'm a Christian-based business. So it's stamped BH, Ecclesiastes 9:10. And that scripture, I'm trying to make this clear. That scripture basically says that whatever your hands find to do, do it, because once you die, you're not going to be able to. So you do the best that you can with the hands that God has given you. So that's the scripture. I stamped that on all of my soap bars. And the BH is obviously for black hands. I stamped that on all of my soap bars, and my stamps come out very clear. And the secret to that is, 1, saran wrap or cling wrap. You have to have one of those. And then you have to wait a minimum of 24 hours. But in between 24 and 48 hours is honestly the best time, because the soap is soft but not too soft. You don't want it too soft, because then it will just, the stamp will not be clear on it. And then you don't want it hard, because although it will be clear once it's hard, it's just hard to stamp it. So we want to be able to stamp easily without any issues. then I would say like 36 hours is good. Just in between the 24 and the 48 hours is the best time to stamp. And you would simply just take like this right here is cling wrap that I put on my melt and pour soap base. Because the thing with melt and pour soap is that if you leave it exposed, it will get, you can't see it here because it wasn't exposed, but it'll get glycerin rivers, which is like little like wet river type things, and it'll sweat. So because melt and pour soap sweats, it has to be wrapped when it's not used. And that's the reason why you'll notice a lot of melt and pour soapers, they don't leave their soap bars exposed like this. You're never going to see them do that. And that's because it will start to sweat. And when I say sweat, I mean like real sweat, like how your body sweats, how your hair may sweat. That's what will happen with melt and pour soap. So it has to have cling wrap over it when it's not being used. So, while on the other hand, there are people who cling wrap cold process soap too. I don't do that because the more air it gets, the better, the longer, like I said, it's like wine, it gets better over time. So the more air it gets, the harder it gets, the better the lather gets. So even though the soap bar may not be sold right now, it's only wrapped at the bottom. And I have a video on how I wrap my soap bars. It's only wrapped at the bottom and the top is still exposed, which means that it can still be getting rid of excess water and getting harder, which will give it a better lather and give it more longevity. Thank you for the heart me, Shawnee. I hope I said your name right. Shawnee, yes. Thank you for the heart me. So you have to cling wrap, melt, and pour soap, but you don't have to do that with cold process. You can if you want to, but if you are going to do that, you are going to cling wrap or just wrap cold process soap in general, you have to wait those 4 weeks to make sure there's been enough time to get all the excess water out. So when it comes to stamping, I just take the saran wrap or cling wrap. I tend to stamp on the sides, but when they're small bars, I stamp in the front. But I just take this cling wrap. I guess I'll show you guys like this. All right, I just take this and then I just put my stamp down there. Now the cling wrap is not going to get caught up in the soap because I know that's been like a concern for some people. They think, oh, it's going to get stuck in my soap. Hey, I need to re-up on my soap I ordered from you, but couldn't find you. Really? If you go to my profile, I believe, yeah. If you go to my profile, you should see the link. But I'm glad you found me. So you can go there and make your orders. Right. So this is what I use to perfectly stamp my soap bars. And for some reason, that seems to be a video that either the algorithms really like it or the people who watch them really like it. So forgive me if most of my videos are me stamping. It's just me trying to make sure I get myself out to the masses because I'm teaching y'all how to make soap. And I want to make sure that as many people as possible gets the opportunity to learn because I know that that's not something that is just done that often. I know there's a few soapers out there who do it, but not a lot. And one of the good things that I do is that not only do I do these live sessions to teach you how to make soap, I have a free soap making class. So I know that my Instagram and YouTube people can't see it because I have no idea how to put writing on this screen. I know there's a way to do it because I've seen it. Oh, maybe if I put other notes for the scene. No, that's other notes. But anyways, there is a free soap making course that I have. If you go to my links, YouTube can go underneath my profile to my links. Instagram and TikTok can actually go to my profile to my link in bio. And it will say 5 ingredient beginner soap making course. It'll say that it's free. You can join that course and take that at your leisure. it will teach you everything that you need to know for just beginner soap making. So it's not anything advanced in there. It's just something to get you started on making soap. At the end, hey, PR Soap, how are you? So at the end of it, there is a survey. I do want you guys to take that survey because I take the surveys very seriously. I use that to make improvements to the soap making course. Because if you do have questions at the end, then I feel like I haven't done my job at providing this free course for you. So I want you to complete those surveys so I can make corrections, edits as necessary. So, and then there's a certificate at the end once you complete the course. If after you complete that course, you're like, you know what, I'm still not confident in making soap, or I just want to make soap side by side with an experienced soaper who can kind of guide me along the way, then you can sign up for my Ultimate Live Soap Making class. Thanks for the heart, me. So that class is listed in my bio as well, and I think it's listed as a link. If you go to just products on YouTube, so for all my YouTubers, if you just go to products, it's listed there under blackhands.net. You go there, you go to products, it'll show you there. And you can take that class with me. If you use the code LIVE5, which is LIVE5, you'll get $5 off. That class is the same price as some of the courses that are out there, like soap making courses, but it's an added bonus in doing it with me because we're actually doing it live together. So it's not just like something like pre-recorded videos. It's actually me actually watching. Oh gosh, your live visibility restricted. Of course it is. I don't even know why. But you'll be able to do the live with me, and I'll be able to see what you're doing with your soap, and I'm going to be making the soap with you. So you'll be able to see my screen, see how my soap is looking, see how your soap is looking, and we can troubleshoot there to see if there are any issues along the way as we're making it. But it gives you the opportunity to make the soap with an experienced soap maker, which I think is a phenomenal opportunity, if I must say myself. So you can use the code LIVE5 to get $5 off. I can't remember the one I got, but it had turmeric in it. Help, please. Is on a whole new level. Yeah, like that's. I used to get these restrictions before. If it has turmeric in it, then there's only a few soap bars with that. It was brown, like a light brown, because. So it wasn't a swirl soap. It was a light brown. Okay. I know what you're talking about. There was a soap bar. I don't have that in stock, but I know what you're talking about. It was it had a scent to it too, right? It was probably that simply turmeric bar, which was made with like it wasn't swirled. The entire bar was turmeric, and it was more so like a light brown color, and it had a scent in it. Yes. I know what you're talking about. I don't have that soap bar available. No, yeah, I don't have that available. What I do have is the turmeric milk and honey bar, which is, I think I only have the unscented bars left, but those are soap bars that have been swirled with turmeric in them. And they come in peppermint, but like I said, I don't think I have any. I don't have any of the scented ones, so it would be unscented, but it has milk, honey, and turmeric. So it's still a really good bar. It's not going to have a scent to it, but it will. The turmeric is known for helping with the hyperpigmentation. The honey is going to draw in moisture, and the milk is going to give you extra moisture when you're using your soap bar. So you can try that one. But yeah, the soap bars you're talking about is just out of stock, so I removed it from the website. But thanks for mentioning that. Maybe I'll get that one back up and running because I haven't made any more of it. Okay. So those are the tips that I have for you guys. Make sure that you go to the Soap Made Simple link, which is the first link, I believe. It's the first link on my link tree. So when you go to my profile, yep, it is the first link. You'll see that there's a syllabus there, And there's the oil, butter, clay, and scent properties. There's also 2 more documents that I'm going to add to there. So I'm going to add the soap maker secrets that I just went over with you today. I'm going to add that document to it. And then there was a document from Tuesday that I was supposed to add. I think it's a more detailed list of the oils and butters. So I gotta add that bar too. Sorry, I didn't add it before because I was supposed to add that Tuesday. Yeah, I gotta add that document to it too. And you'll be able to get all those documents for free. It was so good. I'm on my last bar now. The mesh bag makes them last. Yeah. I don't know which mesh bag you had, but yeah, the soap saver bag or the it's probably not the one you had. Probably this one. It's the one you had. Yep, it does. Is the comfort one or the lavender one available? Yeah, those are both available. The comfort one is scented with vanilla. So it's more of a warm, fuzzy scent. And then the lavender is a lavender essential oil. So it'll give you that peaceful relaxation scent. So yeah, those 2 should be available. Yeah. Yeah, Lavender Bliss is the lavender one. And then the comfort one, you have to go to the signature collection. And then when you click on that, comfort is the only one that's available. So yeah, you can get those. Thank you guys for the likes. Let me get my syllabus. Don't forget to sign up for the free soap making course if you haven't already. Because that was created for you guys to make it easy for you to learn how to make soap at your leisure without having to actually get on live and watch someone. Use the one that's out for Mayani. Is it going to be back in stock? The turmeric one? It's going to take at least like 4.5 weeks it's going to take at least like 4.5 weeks for that one to be available. Let me make a note of that one. Yeah, it's going to take, give me like at least a month for that one. And that one will be available. Okay. I was trying to look and see. I believe I created a discount for TikTok. Oh, yeah. TikTok One. So, Shawnee, if you use TikTok One, when you're checking out, you'll get 10% off your order. I had to remove it from my bio because I didn't have enough room. And I find that people don't use these discounts anyways. But yeah, you use TikTok One. So TikTok and the number 1, they'll give you 10% off your order. If you guys are interested in the one-on-one soap making class with me, you go to theblackhands.net and you choose the class. There are the rest of the dates for the year have been added because at first August 31st is the next one. They're only on Sundays from 4 to 6. So I have August 31st, September 21st, October 12th, November 16th, and December 14th that are available. So you can go to my website and get that. At the checkout, if you use the code LIVE5, which is right here, you'll get $5 off. If that date and time doesn't work for you, then you can just click on the private. So instead of clicking on one of those dates, you click on private. And it's the same price and you can use the same discount code. You'll get a calendar link that'll be emailed to you after you purchase. And on that calendar link, it'll give you other days and times because I do Saturday mornings. Thank you for the popular gifts. So you'll get the option of doing it on a Saturday morning or I think I do Tuesday and Thursday evenings. So if you purchase just the private, so when you go to the drop down menu, instead of clicking on one of those dates, you would click private, then you'll get the calendar link that'll be emailed to you. Thanks for the likes and the gifts. Okay. So next week I gotta look because I think my syllabus may be slightly different from the syllabus that I have online. I guess let me just look to make sure. Oh, I don't even know how to click on that. Oh. So I want to make sure our syllabus are syncing up. So we know Soap Made Simple syllabus. Yeah, that's it. All right, so your syllabus, okay, they are the same. So next week we'll be going through how to price your soap. Did you ever get checked out? Did you ever check out the agency? So I did. I checked it out and I was able to get the link and submit like the application for it. And I got I don't know, I guess I got the okay to go forward with applying, but I didn't because I kind of thought to myself, like, I don't know that I could fully commit. Like, I have very little faith in myself to commit to those 15 hours. I think you told me it was 15 hours. But then the other thing was, I didn't see anything that said that it was 15 hours. Like, nothing. I found like this other creator who was talking about it like in a video. And I asked her about it, and she told me the 15 hours just like you. But when I asked her, where do I find like it in writing? She didn't know. And when you do the application for it, they don't tell you. And my daytime job is I'm an attorney. And so for me, things have to be in writing because I trust very little of like what's said to me. So I have to see stuff in writing for me to agree to it. And I couldn't find it in writing that it was just the 15 hours. So that was concerning for me because I'm like, well, I know people are telling me 15 hours, but what if I get in and they're like, oh, well, it was 15 hours last month, but this month is 20 hours. And then I was also concerned because I would have been signing up at the end of July. And I didn't want to be obligated to get in the 15 hours at the end of July and then, start over again in August. Just because, like, I've been doing Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon for like a good hour to an hour and a half. And that seems like a lot for me. I won't lie, it does. So, like, I don't know that I can fully commit to the 15 hours, but I did reach out to them. I just didn't get a response on like that information in writing. So I just didn't go forward with it. Next week, August 19th. My days are always off. So let me make sure. Oh, that's not right. I believe it's August 19th. Yeah, August 19th and August 21st. We'll be going over the prices of the soap and 3 mistakes that you can make that can ruin your batch. They say 15 hours and 7 days. You should talk to them. It's okay though. Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I do need to talk to them because I just need to see that. I need to see that in writing from them. And they don't have like their profile doesn't, it tells you about, the agency, but it doesn't tell you like where to find those things. And even when you go to, I guess, like accept like the application process, it's very simple. But I think I got to a point where it was like, okay, just click this link to accept. And that was it. Like they didn't say anything else, just like accept and join. I think it did tell me I had like 3 days or something to quit or change my mind, or maybe it was 30 days or something. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll do it. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll do that. But I don't remember because that was at the end of July. So August 19th and 21st, we'll be doing how to price your soap if you do want to sell your soap. And then 3 like major mistakes that could ruin your batch of soap. And then the week after that, we'll be making soap on live on the 26th. And then on the 28th, we'll be cutting the soap and packing all of your wonderful orders that you're going to be placing. So, yeah. Make sure you guys join the free soap making course and take the survey so I can learn from the tips or the comments that you guys have and make corrections as necessary. And if you want the one-on-one, then definitely check out the Ultimate Live Soap Making class. Let's see how my YouTube people are doing. I didn't even realize I wasn't even looking at the chat. Where's it at? Okay. So thank you guys for 3.5 thousand likes. Gosh, last time I looked, it was like 300. Y'all been tapping away. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for the gifts. Thank you, Pure Soap, for 22 points and gifts. All of my YouTube and Instagram people, I can't see the likes, but I thank y'all for whatever likes y'all have done. I got to figure out how to work this system here. But thank you guys for tuning in with me, and I will see you next week on Tuesday. Bye-bye.